Back early. Let's see. Let's bring on Matt.
Delicious.
Alright, Matt, you are live.
Hey, how's it going?
Can everyone hear? Okay, anyway, this is all good. Can everyone hear, Matt? Alright, let us know if the audio stuff is okay. Okay, everyone can see them. And how do we invite Mint?
If you go to the top of your screen share thing, you click on the Add a Person button, and then you can actually just copy the link and then send it to Mint, or I can send it to Mint if you want.
If you could do that, that would be great.
Okay, let me do that.
All right, we're gonna add Mint to the chat.
She said she's getting her microphone set up and stuff, so.
Alright. Oops, just realized it's blocking you.
Nice. That's fine.
Well, while we are here, let's just, since I can't figure it out, Matt is on Dual. Why don't you tell us a bit about yourself? You're in, is it Dual Hammers?
Yeah, I'm at Dual Hammers, 2 Hammers on Twitter. I'm a game designer, writer, animator. You can find my portfolio at abandoned.computer, and you can find some of the things I sell, custom-made GIFs at Gumroad, so that's gum.co/trashgif.
And you went to DePaul here in Chicago.
Yes, I did.
And then you moved out to Seattle. You abandoned us for the West Coast.
I did. I headed for milder pastures for various reasons. So, although I am thinking about coming back to Chicago for a trip this summer, so maybe I'll see you.
Yeah, well, the Bit Bash would be a great time to visit.
I was definitely thinking about it. We'll see if it lines up with the rest of our plans.
So cool. Is Mint almost ready?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, why don't we go ahead and get started, and then
sure.
Mint can join us in a bit. The game has sound.
Yes, the game has a limited amount of sound, but some sound.
Okay. Alright, I have 2 mission directives. Locate as many worlds as possible for immediate colonization. Mark them as habitable. Every marked planet will be seeded with a colony ship upon mission, and it is imperative we seed as many planets as possible to ensure the greatest possible chance of survival. Habitable planets should be judged on the following criteria in the following order. Breathable atmosphere, temperatures near Earth normal, absence of intelligent or hostile life forms. Drones should be sent to the surface to confirm the quality of the landing site. If all other criteria are... Does that text just get cut out?
Yeah, it looks like you are displaying the window is running at a weird resolution, like it's sort of widescreen. It's supposed to actually be an 800 by 800 square box.
Ah, I see. How do I do the? It's like control.
Control enter.
No, the one where you can choose the Unity selection screen.
Oh gosh, I don't even know. I can actually give you a link to the no, I can't. I've never I tested it on my screen on my computer, and it ran in the box, so I'm totally at a loss.
Right, there's like a way where you can. I don't know if anyone in the stream knows where you can. If you open you can like hit, I think, control or maybe I just do this. Is that better? You do it like this.
Yeah, it's closer to that. It should be square, but that's fine.
Okay. So I guess that would be one thing.
Yeah, definitely. So this was originally part of Antholojam, which was a 2-month game jam, and this game was originally built to run merely in the web browser. So
oh, I see. Right.
Yeah. So the build that I sort of sent to
okay.
indicate was the web build.
Good luck, pilot. We honor your sacrifice. Oh, is Mint on?
Is Mint?
Hey.
Hey.
Am I coming through okay?
Yeah. I think so. So it like switches between you and Matt. Okay, cool. I guess whoever's talking, it just goes to them.
Yeah, unless you select someone, it's gonna go between like speaking voices.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I guess as long as we can hear you. That's strange. The text seems like it has some relationship to the resolution. Yeah. You guys, this was built in Unity 5 or Unity 4?
Unity 4 point something beta. So it had the new UI that was still in beta.
It would be 4.6 then, right?
Yeah. And one of the things we did have a lot of problems with was like the way the UI worked and how its relationship to the resolution.
Okay.
Yeah, the UI is a little picky.
Okay, so I like that it just throws me in there, and I have to figure it out. And just to double check, like left button is the only thing I need, right?
You can double click, and that will move you, or you can press the space bar.
It's pretty much just left button and optionally spacebar.
Okay. Comparing repeating symbols to all known languages. Complete. Read message. We are on a journey through writing out the creatures inside. Our journey must be under the age of 5. We can do so. Hope of repairing our mistakes. Oh, I see. Okay. I think my one feedback would be I didn't know about double-clicking. I think I guess I don't play a lot of I do love the sound and I love the art direction and I really like that it just throws me in there, but I don't I guess because like in my game you click once with the left button, mouse button to like interact or something. So I just left click is. I mean, you'd think it'd be super obvious just because I'm left clicking all the time, but
Yeah, we didn't do too much for that. We had a prompt in the very beginning, like, that you had to, I believe it was, like, hit left click or spacebar to get out of the loading screen.
Right, yeah.
But it doesn't really bring across that it's movement.
For a while, I thought about including sort of a non-diegetic tutorial, but because the UI is meant to simulate like an actual computer interface,
Yeah.
we tried to model it as closely as we could on like what are the types of controls you use in Windows, right? And so double clicking is kind of the obvious one, but I can definitely understand why.
Yeah. Okay. Now I see what you mean, right? Because this has like the whole X, like like this is a very, now I can see. Well, actually, you know what's interesting is I feel like once I open up, then this feels like like I'm in an operating system. But out here, I wasn't so sure about that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But let's go to this thing we were looking at. Planetary target found. Scan the atmosphere. Who did this sound design? It's lovely.
That was a friend of mine, actually. He does, like, synthesizer ambient stuff, and I just, like, that is kind of exactly what we need for a computer space game type thing.
Yes. So he ended up doing...
well.
And so he did the music, and then I believe it was me. Like, was I the one who did this? Like the UI sound effects? I don't even remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe you cranked those out in what is that program? The SFXer.
Yeah, SFXer, the one people use in the Game Jam. Yep, that's what I use.
Yeah.
The Game Jam sound effect program.
Oh, that one that everyone uses for game jams.
Yeah.
Main GI says, sorry, the chat is broken, so, but I'll try to kind of read out some of the comments. Everyone was saying, Unity, you gotta hold Alt to start the program to display it in the settings dialog. And then, yeah, people seem to really like the UI.
Yeah, thanks.
So
we definitely.
I was pretty proud of that.
Yeah, it took a while to get that down. That was kind of one of the big design hurdles.
The kind of color fade in. Just having it fade in and fade out. That's a nice touch. Okay. So let's see here. This one I have not scanned, I think. Andy's comment. Has it changed?
They're talking about Shing, which is another game that worked on.
Right.
Yeah. I was fielding those questions in chat only.
So, like, for this one you're looking at right now, you can clearly sort of write this one off as uninhabitable, like right from the start, because the pressure is 17 times Earth, so no one can live there.
Yeah, a lot of the game when you first see a planet is pretty much going through the readings and just comparing them to Earth normals.
Which shows up
down at the bottom.
Down at the bottom, and down here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's one of those things that's mentioned in that big loading screen, but there's a lot of flavor loading that doesn't actually have, like, the first screens are just visual, and then the last screen is mentioning like your mission and the controls and stuff.
Yeah, and to be fair, this is definitely a difficult game to probably showcase on a stream because it's very contemplative and requires a lot of attention. If you're like trying to host a thing and watching chat and talk to someone, it's very easy to miss things. This is meant to be a more quiet, sort of introspective experience.
Oh, so okay. I did a hack with the chat. I know, so that's broken, but so sorry about that. Yeah, this is, but I think it's cool just to. I mean, mostly I just wanted to kind of talk about this and. Yeah. No, that's
I should have a
one
chat
thing
log, actually. So.
Well, I've done it now, so where the chat is just a copy of the window of the actual Twitch chat. On the right hand side.
Classy.
Yeah, that's a good.
Nice.
Playing by the seat of our pants.
For sure.
Seat of our pants. Oh, I see. So, okay. And then, I guess from here... Oh, possible meteor strike.
Whoa. So a lot of these, the visuals were added by Matt pretty close to the cutoff date. So I was busy working on other stuff, and I actually... So, like, pictures like this one, I haven't actually seen this before.
Oh, good.
I haven't seen the meteor strike event.
So that means I can choose to repair or ignore it. And I'm gonna repeat strikes possible. I'm gonna go ahead and repair it. It reminds me a lot of Mirror Moon, just in the way that they really try to make some UI that feels like this is definitely like hard sci-fi-ish, and it's not.
Yeah.
You're like erring on the side of realistic and confusing as opposed to gaming.
Right, yeah. So the theme of Anthology was supposed to be the golden age of sci-fi.
Right.
So
yeah, that was one of the things we took a little bit of liberty on with the theme, because it's like golden age of sci-fi is sort of a bit more like weird propulsion systems and like far future space stuff, and we decided to go like really rough alien style, like hardcore interfaces and stuff.
Right. So at this point, if you notice, you can actually drag around by like holding down the left mouse button and drag the map around.
Yeah.
And you want to pan around to find basically another solar system.
Yeah, so the thing that is least put across to the player is that you can use the scroll wheel. You can zoom out and in.
Right. Okay, see, I think, okay, so let's just pause here. So, like, one of the things I was, like, starting to get a sense of this, like, energy and hull. I was like, oh, cool. Like, I'm in year 2124, August 21st, and like, here's my system info. Here was reference of the previous planet. The thing that got me confused, I think I had it like this earlier or something. I had this spacing, and I thought it was screen wrapping.
Right. We definitely went back and forth on the way the map looks, and I'm not entirely satisfied with the solution we came up with. One of the things we kept going back and forth on was having arrows on the outside of the map that looked like interactable buttons, which indicated that you could like pan around. But we went with clicking and dragging in order to, preserve screen space. But you're right, it does make it a little bit more confusing.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the things sacrificed for it being a game jam, was a bit of, like, how do we get the map working and displaying and have a way to move around it, and then we just sort of stopped there.
Yeah.
Why isn't it, like, I guess the way I feel like I would have done this, energy reserves restored, we should. Calculating options. Alright, I don't want to terminate mission, so I'll enter cryo.
Yeah, so that's what we tried to stay a bit away from sort of hard loss
Right.
situations. We didn't want people to just instantly, oh, you moved too far, you're dead. Like,
Right.
I guess I mean, like, why not? Why didn't you guys have an overall world grid? I feel like that would have been really helpful.
yeah, we initially did have a world grid, and it was, I found it kind of difficult visually, just the way that, it's one of those things we could have tweaked later if we had more time, I think.
Yeah.
But it initially did have all of the squares visible. It was kind of hard to tell where the solar systems were necessarily, though.
Okay.
Because it's all one color, so even with the outlines that we had, you could have some difficulty if there was only like one planet around the sun.
Okay, and then you start to, the idea is like, this is me.
Yes.
Yeah. And the energy usage for this is 1%. I see, and I'm pretty low in energy now. I don't know if, let's scan this one. Okay.
So a thing we don't mention too much about the energy, I don't think we actually mention it anywhere, is that while you're around a sun, you actually gain energy, presumably through solar panels or something.
Right. So if you're low on energy, you can actually kind of just move around the solar system, and you'll regain some amount of energy.
Right. So with this one, it says it's only 2 times more than Earth, which I think is right. Minimum temperature -10. Average temperature is 23, though max is 72. That's
It's a bit toasty.
It's a bit toasty.
on the high end.
Although, to be fair, the max temp on Earth is like 56, so
Right.
I guess that's true.
there's nothing wrong there's nothing wrong with, like, seeing if you can land. Because if you can't land, that's, like, the ultimate proof that you can't go there.
Right. So we launch. Oh. Okay. So now you have a. Oh shit! Wow. This is really cool. Lovely shader work.
Yeah, that was all Matt doing the shader on that.
It reminds me a lot of one of Lucas Pope's games.
Oh yeah, the Voyage of the Oberdin.
No, not that one.
I guess it does kind of look like that too, though.
What other games has he made with dithering?
It's not dithering. He's got this one where you're like looking for a sunken plane. And you.
Oh man, I'd never even heard of that one.
He did it for a game jam. Okay. Can I move around? Like,
Yeah, you should be able to use WASD.
oh, I guess
Another
it
thing
just,
that was not.
And
This
if
is
you notice,
this is too steep for me to climb up. Right. That's why it's stopping me.
Oh. Whoops.
and you'll notice that the energy bar on top is decreasing. So you spent 10% of your total energy reserve to land, and that energy bar at the top is that amount of energy now counting down as you move around.
This is really cool. Yeah, I like this. This was a really great moment going into 3D.
We sort of like that it does dual purpose, letting you walk around, and also kind of as a reward for picking a planet that's able to handle like a probe.
Yeah.
Right. I think the now the mouse is the cursor is gone. Yeah. I think
if you all tab back, it should work. That was basically an untreated bug from the Windows version.
I'm gonna swap to Mint, cause just for a little while, because I think
sure.
you've been on.
My ugly mug is taking up too much screen time.
I thought it went to whoever was talking, but ash dust covers the every surface, a still blanket over a dead stone. Not habitable. Can I mark it as not?
You don't have to mark it. You don't have to mark something as not habitable, but you can mark anything you want as habitable.
Alright, so it says, attention, regulation CV2K1 requires pilots submit to psychological evaluation after all long-distance hypersleep transits. This test must be completed. It will count towards final processing at the end of this mission. I'm really surprised. How long was the game jam? It takes, like...
the total time was about a month.
Oh, it was a month. Okay. That explains the quality of the stuff I'm seeing here.
Yeah, we had a bit more time. A lot of stuff, as you might imagine, was put in the last 2 weeks after we got the sort of structure of it.
You are driving along when you see a wreck on the side of the road. Pulling off to investigate, you notice an adult and a child inside. Fire is quickly engulfing the car. What do? Save the child. I think.
Do you flip over the turtle, Willie?
I didn't actually look at the other options. I think it was call for help or save the adult. I didn't look at them too closely. Test administered by Milton. A Talus principle joke. Hi God, yeah, he says dithering is cool. I really like
dithering
this.
Is cool.
Thank you for your answer. It is the first day of school and your mother has packed a special lunch. You notice a child without a lunch. She's asking the others to share and they're refusing. I would split my lunch with her. Give her my lunch, give her nothing, or split my lunch with her. I think splitting is what I would do.
That's what I would do.
I mean,
it's a nice thing to do, I guess.
Giving your lunch, I think, well, but then you go hungry.
I like how you're considering these after you've answered.
Yeah, right. That's too late. I'm trying to justify my decisions, which is how I guess I normally do things anyway in real life.
Interesting.
Your lover invites you over for dinner. When you arrive, there is a third person there. Your lover explains that they want this third person to join you in lovemaking. It depends on who that person is. I would ask why. That's what I'm most interested in. You receive a call from a good friend. They inform you that they're dying and need an organ transplant. I feel like this is revealing way too much about myself psychologically on a public level.
Yeah, we actually gather all of these replies, and we get paid really good by the government for that.
Yeah, that's how we funded ourselves during
right.
No.
You receive a call from a good friend. They inform you that they're dying and need an organ transplant. You can provide that organ, but it would shorten your life by half. Oh. Yeah, well, maybe if I answer correctly, I get a call from NASA. You can provide that organ, but it would shorten your life by half. I think I would say no, but I would ask why. Because I feel like, here's the thing, I feel like if I were a friend, if someone's my friend and I'm dying, and they can provide an organ, but it would shorten their life by half, I don't think I'd take it. Right?
Yeah, I'd feel so guilty, like...
Right. You work a back-breaking job in a fabrication factory on Luna. Towards the factory and takes a liking to you. They offer you a promotion if you're willing to force your coworkers to take a pay cut. What do you do? I think say no is the best, right? Because if you do it, then people find out, and then there's a whole revolt, and you go down when the revolution happens. So,
yeah, you don't want to be that guy.
Say no.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to be the guy they take to the, what's that thing called?
The guillotine?
Yeah, that's it. I was just like, French Revolution. Antoinette.
Yeah, that one.
It's Christmas Eve and your boss offers you overtime to work Christmas. Ask why, so I don't die.
It's a good answer.
It's funny because I saw that in chat, but we had moved on from the question, so I thought it was the threesome question, and I was like, I don't think the stakes for a threesome are usually that high. Like,
it's Christmas Eve and your boss offers you overtime to work Christmas. Your lover has been planning a Christmas party for weeks, but you don't have the money for both food and presents. If you work, you could afford both, but you'd miss the party. Offers you overtime. Your lover has been planning a Christmas party for weeks. I don't have money for... Oh. Well, it sounds like I need the money. Or, actually, ask my lover to choose. That's like... Then I don't have to make the...
Hard choices.
Passing off responsibility.
Delegation is a huge part of leadership, so...
Right. She's the one that is throwing the party anyway, so... Oh, I think some of the viewers are getting a bit emotional. Why are...
Yeah, I'm glad that you got that one on stream, honestly, because the only time I've ever gone through that was when I was working alone, so...
Oh, so I know this is a star. So then I can, do I have to, like, go there, or just... Like, if I go to the one nearby, that gives me enough to charge my energy?
Yeah, I mean, it'll while you're jumping around inside of a solar system, it'll boost you up. So the amount of distance that is in that solar system that you'd be going through would charge you. So it'll use less.
The only thing you're expending is time, right? And the idea of the mission is to save as many people as possible. So there's an implied time crunch. But every time you jump, even a single grid scare, it advances a certain amount of time.
But it uses it, like, now my energy is at 7%. Right, and I thought you guys said earlier that if I jump near a star, then my energy level increases.
No,
it should a little bit.
No,
right?
it doesn't if you jump.
Take that out.
It doesn't if you jump between solar systems. You have to move around inside the solar system.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, that makes sense. So if I go here, oh right.
God.
I don't know if I like that mechanic.
Yeah, the numbers could use some tweaking for sure, because I think what we initially intended was to have the number large enough that when you were jumping into a new solar system and you visited one or two planets, that it would have charged you up to like 80-90%.
Oh. And of course I shouldn't have visited that one because there were no planets.
Right, and this is obviously the example, like we were talking about earlier with the first several hours of your game. Like, you have to do a ton of playtesting, and we were in a position where we weren't able to do as much playtesting as we wanted.
Mm-hmm. That was scheduled towards week 3, beginning of week 4, but especially on a game jam, schedule completely goes to shit pretty quick, so...
Yeah. Main GI asked earlier, why are you planning a party if you know your SO is pressed for cash? That is
That's a
beyond
good
the scope
question.
of this. That gets too deep. Like,
I wouldn't feel bad about asking them to choose at that point, then.
yeah. By the way, so can people download this or?
Yeah, you can actually go to itch.
Let me pull that up.
Yes.
itch.io or dualhammers.itch.io/Origin of Mercury, which I will put in chat. And that is the build that we sent to Indiecade. So you can...
And is that one, do you know if that one is, because you did that build, is that the standalone that Willie has right now, or?
Yeah, that's the standalone build that I sent to Willie.
Okay, cool. Because yeah, it's a bit unfortunate that Anthologium is still, I mean, it's hosted web because that's what everyone built for, and like immediately after that,
Yeah.
they depreciated the Empathy API.
Oh, this planet looks really great. It's
Ooh.
1.02 times the pressure of Earth. The surface area is roughly the same. Gravity is a little lighter, so pretty awesome basketball games. The max temperature is 69, which is a little high.
But it's pretty close, though.
Close, yeah. Average is 25,
closer than the other one.
That's great. So I think we can. Where do I mark this?
So if you go hit return.
Oh, yeah, I gotta go to return.
So you gotta.
I should visit.
Yes.
Oh, and there's artificial signals.
So remember the order.
Potentially.
Atmosphere, intelligent life, and landing.
Okay, so no life, which is good. No intelligent life.
Yeah, nothing that can have guns. Oh no. That is a bit of a visual bug that I was never able to quite get out.
Oh no!
It literally renders the entire and I'm not sure whether or not double clicking on it moves you outside of
the
the
grid? Like,
Yeah, that was the
that's the
map
complete actual map grid with actual suns.
This was
So
the
probably
one.
don't go clicking on that. You don't know where you're gonna.
I see.
I think this is the one planet that happens on.
Yeah,
That's
because
cool.
we couldn't get it. We couldn't in the version we set up. We couldn't like have it quit, or we couldn't unload the map when we loaded the levels, and so
I see. Right.
I had to go back through by hand and move the level geometry and your start position like way far away outside of the clipping zone. But I guess I missed this one.
Right. And I noticed that there's no like loading, so which is really nice. But anyway, this but when you visit, it's like I landed, so I guess that's good.
Yeah, and this looks fine.
Oh yeah, the mouse thing definitely is. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Which one? Visited? No, we're here.
Yeah, you don't need to navigate with that.
But I mean, now how do I think I forgot to mark it as habitable.
Oh,
If you jump away,
you can go back to it, or
Like,
there should be a visit button, but there's not one there. That's a bug report. Yeah, the visit button in the top left will allow you to visit whatever planet you're currently on top of.
Yeah.
You don't have to double jump back to it, but
Oh, right here? Okay, yeah.
yeah, that'll just reopen that. Or it should.
This looks like a really good solar system.
That is chock full of planets.
Chock full of habitable, or nearly habitable planets.
Oh, this one's really good too. Oh, this one's the gravity's a little... No, I think it's...
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah.
Hot.
I think not.
Too
You
hot.
maybe don't want water to boil when there's a heat wave.
So is there, like, oh, you guys... Do you guys, in the database, like, you guys keep track of which ones are good and which ones are bad?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the amount of things that were able to be procedural kind of... We took that as it came during the month. So we have a lot of the stuff's procedural, the text for specific events isn't procedural, and the which planets are habitable and stuff is not. So specific planets are... I mean, some of the planets I think are, but the ones that you can visit have all of their stuff predetermined, and specific ones are set as habitable or not.
I see. And then, so it's like you guys kind of know when the player is making the wrong decision or right decision. Like, if this one is obviously not habitable,
Yeah.
but I mark it as habitable. But the game doesn't punish me.
The game
Not
doesn't
here.
in the way that a traditional
Oh.
like any game does, right?
This looks amazing.
Yeah.
This planet.
So without
on.
without giving too much away about like the end of it. I mean, there's not much to give away, but it's sort of I hate doing the compare to other game things, but it's kind of like 80 days, where at the end of it, it's sort of you have like, depending on what happened, your story changes a bit. So there are little you get sort of journal entries, reports from each of the planets that you've marked habitable and what happened to the people that you sent to them.
Yeah, this feels a lot like No Man's Sky, but like a sadder, lonelier version. I mean that in the best way possible, but just that feeling of exploration. And are these I do think you should have gotten rid of the shadow.
Yeah, that was something that. So, a fun fact is that the night before, so it was due on a Friday at midnight, and Thursday, way too late at night, I was like, okay, I gotta go to bed. I have work. Matt, are you gonna work on this some more? And he was like, yeah, I'm gonna stay up a bit and see what I can get done. And I wake up in the morning for work, and I'm like, hey, what'd you do? And he's like, oh, I stayed up all night. Also, we have a first-person mode in the game now. And I was like, oh, okay.
So all the
we're turning it in 12 hours. So yeah, so the first-person stuff was pretty quickly, like, bug fixed what we could.
Oh shit!
Oh no!
Oh jeez!
Oh no!
Oh, it turns out
so most of the planets are huge. Most of the planets are like massive. I guess that one was not a massive one.
Yeah, so I didn't
even know that could happen.
All the planet visitation, the UI for the planet visitation, all that I did basically in one night.
Right.
So it's rough, and I saw the shadow, and I was literally like, I don't know how to make the shadow go away. So I was like, well, it's a drone. Maybe it's a capsule drone.
Yeah. You can just set the renderer to not show shadow.
When I did that though, it made the environment look super weird because there was no self-shadowing.
Oh, I see. Okay, that makes sense.
We probably should have just done is I don't know why we left the first player default Unity pill model. You can just remove the pill model and it works perfectly fine. I guess we just in the haste of compiling it, I guess we overlooked that a bit.
The real critique of this is that our work-life balance on this game was really poor, and we took great effort to meet our own scope, and I think we did a really good job of hitting the scope we set, but the scope we set was too big. So we were exhausted by the time we were done.
Yeah, I primarily worked on a lot of the back-end procedural stuff, and so I had to do that before a lot of the other stuff could be built, and I think the first week I probably put in 30 hours, I want to say 25-30 hours, and I have a 40-hour day job, so it was a pretty nasty week, and I did not do much work week 2, so we burnt out pretty hard.
Yeah, it's hard to know whether like how much more pressure someone can take. Like this one, everything looked good, but it was like 4 times the Earth pressure, and I was like, is that reasonable?
So going back to what you were saying about 80 days, Mitt, one of the things that I really wanted when we designed this was the maximum amount of simulacrum for the real experience, and for the consequences to be felt in a way that made sense for what this action would be like. And so the game does punish you in the sense that if you mark something that isn't habitable, you will learn that people died. But it doesn't create a hard fault failure state, right? Because in real life, you wouldn't die. Another person dies. And you just have to live with that.
But don't you think it's like, okay, because when I'm trying to make these decisions, it's like, well, it's 2129. I I don't know. Maybe people have suits and they can make buildings that are pressurized on the inside, and everyone can walk around. Like I'm wondering why.
Yeah.
Maybe if you had said it to.
Like 2050 or something.
Or something, and then at the beginning you talked about. I don't remember the text, but did it specify the limits?
Yeah, so one of the things it did say in it was that the environment should be near Earth normal.
Yeah, so, yeah, that was one of the things that I would sort of like to be able to add later to this, is, I think it was Lisa actually suggested having, potentially a certain number of, like, rough environment, habitable things. So you get a sort of number of, lives, I guess, in terms of if you mark a few that are like really high pressure or whatever, they can like set up some kind of pressurized or like depressurized like colony, you know, some kind of future tech stuff.
Oh, so like if a certain number of flubs will be okay because they'll within a variance. Right.
Yeah.
I guess my question then is, why would there be a limit on that? Why would they only have 4?
I don't know.
Yeah.
you could just have a bunch, but yeah, some kind of leniency.
Right.
I think for me, like I think it's mostly a clarity issue, like making it more clear so you're not forgetting whether the game told you or not, like what the limits are. But,
yeah, that's why we could probably put more stuff down there in the references, but that was what we sort of realized, okay, if we put the Earth references here, then like if people match it up as close as they can to this, we want to say that was successful.
I think I'm gonna end mission pretty soon. I guess I can just choose to end at any time, right up there.
Yeah.
I found that one.
There's not really a penalty of adding or not adding a ton.
It does seem like the cryosleep thing ends up just getting in the way and breaking up pacing.
Yeah. That's actually my personally least favorite part of the design of this game, because it was like one of those crappy design problems that we didn't end up having the time to really solve because we were working on too much other stuff. Because it was like, okay, we want to limit the amount that someone can jump. We don't want someone to be able to like hop around the entire universe, you know?
Right.
But at the same time, we're like, how do we limit that? Okay, energy. Okay, what happens if you run out of energy? I guess cryosleep done. Like,
so one of the original ideas.
Didn't think that out as much as we should have.
Yeah, like one of the original ideas, which I don't think we were able to implement, and with it being a web game, I'm not sure if we could have, was having the game play out more closely to real time. So borrowing kind of time mechanics from like free-to-play mobile games where you're limited to the amount you can do per day. And so running out of energy, like poorly managing your energy and then being told you have to go into cryo would have some amount of like penalization to it. It would be in a certain level a kind of failure state, but it wouldn't be a permanent failure state. It would just mean you don't get to play today. Like you have to come back later.
I'm not sure that's like a good reason though.
Yeah. We didn't necessarily want to. That was one of the kind of problems we ran into with that one, was like what benefit is there to coming back at that point, and why?
Right.
It's like that is a pretty hard road bump to get over.
Hygog asks, maybe like, did you guys think of sending colony ships as soon as I say they're habitable, and then getting like instant feedback right away and having that change the course, where it's like, then if you screw up 3 planets, then maybe they're like, we're gonna stop listening to you. and
Right.
That,
yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
That would,
You get like 3 tests, like the little flags in Minesweeper.
right, and you're saying with the using the personality test as a check to see if maybe if you're sane, you know, which might be.
Yeah. Okay, you did that pretty good. You get 3.
Right.
My first thought, though, like where my brain goes, and this is just me as a designer, is like, why do they have you out there in this colony ship or this ship managing your energy moving slowly if they can instantly get a colony ship there? Like, why wouldn't they just instantly send colony ships? So again, because we're kind of sitting in this space of trying to simulate a real experience, it's sort of like Her Story, right? Her Story is a great game because it manages these game limitations that provide conflict and enjoyable play experiences, but they're believable. It's like you're working on a shitty old computer, so it makes sense, or it's at least believable enough to buy that you only get 5 clips.
Yeah, I feel like we could have.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry. No, I was gonna. If you're gonna respond to that, go right ahead.
I was gonna say with Her Story, it does gamify that a bit because it's like why would a database only be searchable by word and not by text?
Right.
Right. So the UI is like heavily restricted to just make you have that game experience. Sorry, it's
Sure.
Mint. I don't know. What were you saying?
Oh, sorry, I was typing in chat. I was saying I think we could get around that a bit with the probe, because, like I say, we sort of added that a bit late in the game. If we had more time, I think that we could have given the probe some more feedback potential. Like, the probe could have a bunch of active readings, you know, like meters going up and down, and so it wouldn't instantly tell you, like, oh, this is habitable, but maybe you're walking around and all of a sudden, like, the meters start getting into the, well, I guess it would be yellow still, but, like, getting into the red, you know?
Right.
Like, you're walking around and all of a sudden, like, whoa, big pressure, like, it crushes the drone or something, and then you go, okay, well, that's probably not habitable. Like, there could be a lot of feedback from the drone of, like, simulating humans trying to land there.
So one thing HiGog recommended was if you mark something inhabitable, they would launch the colony ship, but then you would receive feedback as to that, your choice, a little bit later, after a few moves, because moving takes time. So it's not instant feedback, but it's not end of game feedback either, as a sort of compromise.
Yeah, like they send a small ship, and like 300 in-game days later, you hear back whether or not they were successful.
Right. That's actually cool. And again, it was an element of like not having enough time to play testing. It's not that we like tried these options and ruled them out. It's more like we had a bunch of things on the table and we were like, all right, we're running out of time. Let's just pick one to get it out for the jam deadline, which is one of the, I think, the issues with jams is that they motivate you to get stuff done and finish things, which is good. But play testing is such an important part of finishing fully fledged games that you put out for money.
Yeah, that was the part that was a bit more difficult about a month. It was enough. It was like, oh, you have a month. It's great. It's just like a really long game jam. But there's sort of like, with a month, you want to do a lot more than what you can do in a week or a weekend.
Right.
Yeah. You don't really have the resources to like get a QA team come in for your game jam, you know.
Yeah.
But with the time delay stuff, I think that would be really cool because it solves one of the ways we got around some of the design limitations of the game was to have a lot more instant feedback of stuff, and we thought, okay, from that, what can we give you instantly? But with the delayed stuff, it would allow you to sort of have a slow drip of feedback from past actions. Because right now, once you do an action, unless it's marked habitable, it pretty much instantly is like, you know, okay, the probe crashed.
Right.
Or whatever.
it's either instant feedback or the most delayed feedback possible, and there's not a great of information.
So, I guess, are you guys, I'm gonna hit terminate mission pretty soon, but do you guys, like, are you guys continuing to work on the game, and, like, are you guys revisiting it and making it a bigger game, or is this, it's done?
So a couple of days ago, I think Tom Francis posted some advice on his Twitter about like what to do when you're making games and figuring out what you want to make. And one of the pieces of advice is like finish something quickly and show it to people and get their feedback and see if people respond to it. And if people are not responding to it, then know that maybe it's going to just be a hobby project, but maybe it won't be something that you can finish and, you know, find some like financial success in. And so we were sort of on the fence with that. Like, one of the problems with releasing it as part of Jam is, unlike one of the bigger game jams, there wasn't a lot of press attention. Like, people weren't going and like searching out these games. So it was harder to get a sense of like, oh, this game did really, really well on the press circuit. Like, we'll finish it the way something like Super Hot has went. And so what we're doing right now is we submitted it to Indiecade, and at least in my head, I'm using Indiecade as kind of a litmus test of like, is there something here? Like, is someone who's giving this a professional shape excited about seeing the final version, or is it just something we did to enjoy ourselves and learn a lot, but eventually it'll, you know, the lessons will roll into a new game. The game will be.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we can like Indiecade feedback will be nice for us for this for sure, because I have a few design fixes and like things I want to go with the game, and getting more actual play testing will be nice, because I think we have like the feel is something I love about this game, and I would love for us to be able to flesh out the mechanical part of the game to have it be more, you know, in tune with that.
Yeah.
So I think, if nothing else, I would like to at least make this, even at its current scope, like sort of a complete, solid experience.
Yeah.
Explain certain things more.
At the very least, I love the mood that we evoked in this game, and I want to go back to exploring this type of mood.
Yeah. That's a tough one. Like, I get what Tom is saying, because it's, yeah, like, I really also, I love the mood here. I love the art style, that feeling of loneliness. But it is hard to know how that translates to something that will, you know, financially at least justify all the time you spend into it when you go bigger.
Yeah, because this is a game that fits very much in itch.io right now, but maybe not necessarily Steam, you know?
Yeah. And that's just a wider problem with game design in general, is that there's a lot of consumer pressure that I think forces designers in certain directions, and then we complain like, why are all games the same? Well, they're the same because making a game is such a high risk operation that you want to know that you're making something that's going to, you know, justify the time you put into it.
Yeah, and I think it's also a tough one, this, because of you know, it's like, even if you're marketing it, you can't show people. I think perhaps visually the most interesting is the first-person stuff, right? Just because that, like.
Yeah, that's what I've been using for all the cover images whenever I tweet it out.
But it's almost like I don't want to know about that until, like.
Yeah.
You know, when I just got into that for the first time, that was a really exciting moment. Yeah, so it's sort of like how, you know, you don't want to ruin that for the player, but then, you know, if you're just on Twitter, you want to be showing like the visually most impressive stuff for the screenshots, right, and for all that. So yeah, I don't know. This is
Yeah, it sounds counterintuitive, but I think honestly some kind of like trailer could help with this, because then you can sort of give hints to what like the probe stuff. You might have some like flashes of more visually interesting things,
Right.
and it would give you a good feel of like the sound and the text readout noise and the UI feel a little bit.
I mean, I was also thinking...
I think this trades heavily on that feel, so...
I was thinking also, like, what else would you add? You know, it's like, if you guys could, just ignoring kind of justifying whether this would fit on Steam or whatever, it's like, what would you guys like to add to it? I'm just from what I played, I feel like it would be kind of cool to get messages from Earth based on what, you know, it would sort of be like the delayed message thing, but just to be like, I don't want it to be post-apocalyptic, be like, the United States no longer exists. All communication is now, like, whatever, right? I don't know if that feels too typical gamey.
No, that's a super good idea, and that actually was one of the things that we just had to cut for the sake of time. But we were
it was a bullet point on the design document, was time delay communications with Earth. So they say, oh, do this thing, and you like can ask questions about like why am I doing that, but you don't get it until like so much distance is covered over time, and then you know you go there and you search it out, and they're like, oh, because there's aliens there, and you're like, well, you should have told me that. I didn't know that when I went there, but you know,
right.
the amount of time delay sort of changes that, and then you can sort of balance like, do I wait around and like get more information about what I'm doing, where I'm going?
Right.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and terminate the mission.
I'm eager to see if that one was habitable or not.
After 4,080 days, the Traveler mission ended. So that's 10 years-ish? Over 10 years.
Wow.
The Traveler helped to establish 4 colonies. These are their fates. The ziggurats were indifferent to the laughs, cries of the colonists as they collapsed, drunk on the noxious fumes. The wreckage of the colony stands to this day, covered in the fungus that claimed it almost instantly. The colonists survived mere minutes after landing due to a lack of breathable atmosphere. 4 years after landing, the tremors reached their crescendo as the planets float apart, spilling our colonists out into space. This is all that is left of our species. I thought I did... Is this supposed to go through all 4? Isn't this just one?
No, those are... Each one of those entries is supposed to be one of the colonies.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So no one survived.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that I would also tweak about this in the future, is that this game is very difficult, and I don't think I've ever actually had all my colonies not die.
Yes,
I had
someone that killed them all. I did.
Yeah, I had someone that straight up, they were like, oh, that was a fun game, here's my results, and it was like 4 that all succeeded, and I was like, oh my god, how did you do that?
Yeah. One of the,
Magi asked, why don't I, well, if I mark every planet next time, then a bunch of them will die, and then just some which doesn't work.
Yeah,
right,
so that was one of those things where we were like, we don't have a hard win or loss state in this. But, yeah, so I guess technically that would work. You would have ones that survived.
And one thing you have
would be
to,
like a win.
When you want to add, like, you were asking what should we add or what would we add. For me, one of the big things is better signposting on the planets. Like, add more detail to the planets so it's easier to understand what's going to happen to the colonists, right? And it was just because, like, I finished that, like, right before we turned it in. There isn't any of that. But, like, on the Earthquake planet, I spent an hour or 2 trying to get an earthquake going, like, try to get it shaking, and it was like, oh, I just can't in time. Things like that. So when you're on the planet, you're like, maybe this is not as safe as it seems. So,
you know, so you guys should look up the game I was telling you about that Lucas Pope made. That's about sort of searching for think these planes that have sunk, or some ships that have sunk. But it was a Game Jam game. I don't remember the name right now. I should look it up, but it had this scanning mechanism, which I thought would be kind of nice, where it's like, instead of knowing, I feel like you shouldn't see the planets right away, because then it's like, I see the ones with that's just the star, and it's like, well, what's the point of even going there? But it's like, you see a star, you go there and you do a scan, and that shows you, that reveals the planets that are there. So each time you go, you travel to a star, there is a risk. There's an element of surprise.
I guess I'm probably starting to sound like a bit of a broken record with the line, but that was in the design doc.
That was in the design doc as well? Okay, yeah. This stuff happens.
Because that's, Game Jam. We sort of expected that was going to happen, but the initial design was to sort of have...
Yeah,
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the initial design was to sort of have signals. I think that's even in the flavor for the game, is like... we initially were like a miner, so it was like, you're a deep space miner, your ship is lit up with signals from another, that you're, unknown signals, like, you don't know if they're hostile or not, you must investigate, so it was essentially, you would have these hot zones, you would be able to see what your civilization is currently mapped out to, so there would be kind of like a fade-off point, where you're like, oh, there's definitely suns and planets here, but then you'd have these like unknown signals far out of that, and you could like go investigate those signals and like, oh my god, it's a binary star with some kind of solar or space station near it,
Right.
Yeah, that was one of the areas.
Yeah, having those like different levels of knowledge about parts of the solar system or parts of the universe was going to be important.
I see. Yeah. But,
I think that's definitely something that I would love to add in, because, like, I still have that image in my head that I had when we were coming up with the design of the game, and I think that would be super cool to have this vast, unknown map that you have to reveal and, like, figure out where the planets are.
And it also can be a good pacing tool, because let's say that signal is far enough away that you have to hop to like 4 or 5 solar systems before you get there. Like, you would just run out of energy. That allows you to have these moments of surprise along the way, because maybe you find something that you weren't expecting in one of those solar systems along the way, and that leads to another signal, and now you have to make a choice. Like, do you go to one first or the other one, and stuff like that. So
yeah. And one of the things I like about the map being revealed, like not being revealed in the beginning, and having the signals, off in the distance, is that it does a better job of guiding the player initially.
Right.
Because you'll get dropped in, but you're like, okay, there's 3 signals, there's 3 places that I definitely know I'm gonna have to like check out.
Yeah, I guess that also leads to some more storytelling elements too, because you can. You can kind of pre-plan what's going to happen at those signal areas. Maybe it's... Yeah. Someone asks, okay, there's no... But there are... I don't think we ever came across it, but, like, alien civilizations, sometimes... Are there planets where aliens are living there? I don't like the artificial signal. I think that all the ones I tried came up negative. Are there any where you do get a signal?
In this one, there's 2. There's only 2.
Okay.
And again, because it's all authored, it was just a time limitation.
Yeah.
But again, one of the plans would be to have some story threads. Like, maybe there is multiple planets linked together, that if you find the signals on one, it would encourage you to go to a few others to sort of find out the story from there.
Mm-hmm. Sort of a lot of the inspiration was Star Control 2 by way of Mass Effect. So having that ability to... I just think back to Mass Effect, where there's sort of these like threads that connect some of the planets. Like, you go to some of them and find different ruins And I'd love to have something like that where you realize, like, why are there ruins here? And they're like, oh, this next planet, you find out that they were testing some kind of, weapon, and then you go to, like, a signal that it gives you, and you find the aliens alive, and, like, I just think I like the way that could sort of lead to emergent, like, lore in that way.
I've actually never played Mass Effect, so I'm not 100% sure what you're talking about, but I think I get it.
Right.
Yeah, well, in the first one, you can essentially go to a solar system and fly the ship around it, like in physical XY space. So you could, instead of going to the place that your mission is, you could go to a moon and do a scan on it, and it would tell you, like, oh, there's giant structures here, and they have signs of heat damage, like rapid heat damage. And you're like, oh man, that sounds like a weapon,
Oh, I see.
Yeah, so there were some of those optional ones spread around the galaxy that sort of connected each other, and it was sort of like a neat little sub-thread of the plot.
Right. Main Joe was talking about the signals on the planet, but I guess they can sort of be like, you can hint at like someone having gone before you and planting something.
Right.
Yeah, having actual, like, explorable ruins would be really cool, I think.
Right.
For the probe.
This
Yeah, I think having the probe, fleshing that out a bit more would be super sweet, because right now it's just you walk around and check it out. Like, having that play more into the game and more into your success, I think would be cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And this was done before or after you guys saw Interstellar?
Before.
Before, okay.
Before, yeah.
And you guys have seen it?
Yes, I saw it afterwards.
I personally have not.
And I was like, oh.
Mint, I feel like you should see it.
Oh, I should. I have a bit of a movie backlog right now. I still haven't seen Mad Max, though.
Okay, that's a good one.
I'm seeing that tomorrow.
Good.
Don't worry.
Wonderful.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So I also need to see Interstellar still as well.
I
feel like this borrows a bit more from Interstellar than Mad Max, so.
Yeah. Well, cool. I think that's it for the stream. But well, so anyway, everyone, cool. You can go to the link. I'll put it in the chat again if you guys want to check out the game. Huge thank you to this is Mint and Matt on Twitter. Matt.
Yep.
So yeah, thank you all for watching. Thank you, Mint and Matt, for joining us. Yeah, so check out the game, because I wish you guys all the best with Indiecade. Yeah, I think it's a really neat game. It's definitely, yeah, I see what you mean now. I mean, all the conversation about kind of certainly the way games are distributed, how stuff like this, which I think is really interesting and really atmospheric and really captures that sense of loneliness, but doesn't have this like gamification. You're not like flying around blowing up spaceships.
Yeah, it's not what someone would think of necessarily if you build it as like a space exploration game. Right. That sort of has like a lot of connotations that people have, and it's like kind of a weird game for that. But
yeah, it's like I love FTL. It's one of my favorite games, but I actually, when I play it, I just kind of want to keep traveling with my crew. Like, I'm always dreading that, after 10 of those segments, you're going to have to do this giant boss battle, and it's like, I just want to travel in space with people, and I feel like this just goes straight to that mood.
Right. That was a thought I had when we were coming up with the initial design. How I again, it's creating more space for player expression, and I think player expression often runs at odds with design constraints meant to provoke a certain kind of feedback loop from the player. Like, getting the player in a position where they're wanting to win something is a form of coercion that actually takes control away from the player.
Right. Cool. Well, anyway, thanks to everyone for watching. If you enjoyed the stream, make sure to follow. Check out Matt and Mint's work on Twitter, on the interwebs. And thank you both for joining us. All right.
Yeah, thank you for playing it. I'm glad it actually streamed a lot better than I thought it did. So.
And if anyone, just final note, if anyone does pick up the game, the money that you pay is going to go to funding the trip to actually get to Indiecade. And also, if you have any feedback, again, like, I mean, there's a lot of designers here. If there's stuff you like about the game, don't like about the game, like, feel free to send me an email at dualhammers@gmail.com with, you know, that feedback, because it actually is going to go into helping make the game better.
Yeah, we are extremely thirsty for feedback on this game. Like, we that is the one thing that we have the least of as far as design input, is people having played it and telling us things to change. So
yeah, absolutely. We're thirsty randos, but for feedback.
Hopefully this was helpful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to save the Twitch recording for this, because I feel like having someone play it and not necessarily tell them a ton about it, and being able to watch you actually click through it was really good. So
yeah, watching you get lost, I think, was the most important part of this feedback, in terms of, like, oh, how do we get them through that first few minutes where they're confused? So
cool.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for streaming this. It was great.
Yep. Thank you again.
All right. I will see you guys around.
Mm-hmm.
Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to cut off Mint there. But anyway, I'll see you guys on Monday. Have a good night.